This is Chris, Video Game Dust Sleeves, and you're listening to the VGDS podcast with my co-host, LindaAKATheGamerGirl.
Hey ho there, neighbor.
Howdy ho. And my guest gamers, DanCavDragon.
Hello, everyone.
And BoneZ06.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Thanks. Oh, I mean, you were talking to you two, weren't you?
Talking to everyone.
All right, we'll start off with the first segment, Sleeve It or Leave It. And the first game is Super Mario 64. Dan, would you sleeve it?
Oh, this is a definite for me. It's a classic game. Definitely the showcase piece of the N64. One of the best games ever. So definitely sleeve it.
Bones?
You better believe it's sleeved. I already have that sleeved in my collection.
And Linda?
I'm gonna have to give it a hard pass just because it gives me a headache, so I wouldn't play it. So why would I sleeve it?
Wow. And you killed me. Oh, you killed me. But me, I would actually, I would sleeve it. I think I have actually sleeved this game. You know, it's funny. Me, you would think I would sleeve all my games, but I am so busy sleeving other people's games that I don't have the time to sleeve my own.
You should buy the game from them.
Yes, I have done that before. I have bought a game from somebody that was selling that already had the sleeve made for it, and I actually bought those games back. And he was like, "I'll just throw the sleeves in for you." I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you."
Awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, that's how that works. So the next game is Altered Beast for the Sega. Linda, would you sleeve it?
Oh yes, it's such a classic. Has to be sleeved.
And Dan?
Yes, definitely for me too. I love this game, and it was my very first Sega Genesis game because it was a pack-in game with the system. So I would definitely sleeve it.
Bones?
Welcome to your doom. Yes, I will sleeve this.
Okay, and the last sleeve it or leave it is Sonic the Hedgehog for the Game Gear. Dan, would you sleeve it?
Man, I'm 3 for 3 on the sleeves today. I would definitely sleeve this. It's a Sonic game. How could you not sleeve it?
Bones?
Oh, well, I don't know. My buddy Chris hasn't gotten me hooked on sleeving Game Gear games yet, so I'm going to have to pass on it, to be honest.
I didn't get you hooked on those. That's because I don't think you've seen them yet.
No, I haven't, and I haven't given you a list yet. So. No, at this point, no. I'm not going to sleeve that one.
And Linda?
I would sleeve it. I love Sonic. Any game that's Sonic, I'll sleeve.
Awesome. And myself, I did not sleeve this. I don't think I have it. That's why I did not sleeve it. I do have some titles, and they're all sleeved. Okay, and this month, logo sleeve goes to Dan.
Hey.
Woo, Dan!
Again, and I'll say it every time, these are available for sale. They will go to Dan. Proceeds go to Dan. So if you're interested, please hit me up.
Chris, I'm interested. Add one of these and one of Linda's to my next order, please. Thank you, sir.
And my list just got longer.
Yes, it did.
I will do that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And on to
Thank you.
Yeah. Dan's like, I just got free money, yes. On to the next one. Next segment is Guess That Box Art. This box art is an NES title.
Yeah, I know it too, so I go last.
Wow. What a killer. Okay. We'll start with Dan.
NES, man, I don't know what this is, to be honest. I see a guy's arm, and I see a guy jumping out of a helicopter. How about Bad Dudes?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
You got it, dude.
Nice.
Woo!
I knew that black wife beater T-shirt on the guy's shoulder there should give it away.
Yay!
That was a total guess, by the way. I wasn't 100% sure on that one.
That was a good guess, man.
Yeah, thanks.
That was a great guess, obviously. You got it.
And I ended this segment prematurely short.
Good. I love when we actually get the challenge and accept it and take it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point of this. I want you guys to be able to guess them. What's the fun of not guessing them? I'm gonna have to do like 1 or 2 of these now. I'm gonna do 3 or 4 of them now. So you guys are gonna become pros before you know it. Okay. Now, this podcast, we're actually gonna be interviewing myself. So I'm gonna let Linda take over.
Hello, beautiful people. It is now my turn to be the master of disaster. And we are now going to take the tables and twist them around. So the person who interviews is now going to be the interviewee and be all over the place. We're going to rack his brain. We're going to pick in there. We're going to see what makes him tick, why he does what he does.
Sleeves
So we're going to start off with... You know what? You're good. So, Dan, take it away. Let's hear what you got for him.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Linda. Been one of the leaders of the podcast for a while now, and now we wanted to turn the tables on him and let us get to know him a little bit. So I first came across Chris on Instagram where he was posting some pretty cool dust sleeves, and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. That's something I could use. So let me reach out to this guy and see see how much these things are and what they can do. And
Hey,
since then,
hey Dan,
yeah.
How long ago was that? Do you know?
It was more than a year ago, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I just was curious if you knew around about.
It was probably 2017, I would say, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so maybe 2 years or so, but it's a while ago. It seems like a while ago. It seems like a long time ago, and and I've been keeping Chris busy ever since because I love his work. I love his work, and it's this will be good for everyone out there listening to get to know you and your products better. So let me start with my first question here, and just give us dust sleeves. Where the heck did you ever come up with that idea from?
Well, actually, this came from I was searching online for ways to protect my games, and I'm not quite sure who started the whole dust sleeve thing, but this guy, whoever it was, made a template and showed it basically online, and from there I grew and started sleeving my own collection just from that idea from him. He actually just did NES, Super NES, and N64. I took it to the extreme. I do anything cart based, anything handheld based, anything CD based now. I sleeve the whole box now. I do 3D sleeves now. I do just about everything, and some people in here can vouch for that. I'm even doing a Game Shark as we speak. Bones.
Oh, that's right. You're the man.
So I'm even doing things that are bigger than what I thought they would be in size. There's one that Dan actually brought to me. It was an Odyssey game that's a board game / game. And that box is like a 10 by 10 when you lay it all flat. So it's really big, so I have to figure out how to piece it together to make it work. So there's plenty of things in progress. And I'm always looking to get as much as I can done as template-wise, so that way I don't ever have to do the template again, and I have it, and just a matter of finding either box art or, for some cases, something really custom that has logos on it or logos of YouTubers, for example. And it really goes on and on and on. And don't ever think that an idea is bad. If you have an idea that you want on a sleeve, it can be anything from the smallest thing to the biggest thing, or to photos even. I've have sleeves with people on them, literally. Pictures, anything that you can think of. If you want PlayStation on an NES sleeve, I can do it. I mean, it's really not that complicated, really easy for me to make things work. But yeah, that's pretty much how I came about it. And not only that, like, I needed something to protect my games that was cheap, durable, and it just, like, that was the easiest thing that came to me as I was searching online. And it's not bulky. It takes up less space than a UGC case would, a clamshell case. And it's a nice way to neatly organize your games, especially when it comes to like N64 that doesn't have the spine label on it. It has it has no game name on the spine. With the sleeves, you got a name on it now. Like, you can locate the game that you want to play fairly quickly with these sleeves. So that's another plus. Next question.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen these up close, one of the really amazing things about the dust sleeves is that Chris puts an incredible amount of detail into them, and he's a really a stickler for authenticity. I mean, he really gets the design of the sleeve perfect, and duplicates the
Thank you.
box art. Yeah, down to the T, much to a much greater degree than I would have had if I ever tried to make one of these. But so you obviously have a eye for graphic design. You're really good at that. So is that something that you've actually studied in the past, or is that something that's just been an interest or a hobby for you?
It's a little of both. I did take some classes in college, but it wasn't so much Photoshop / graphic art related. It was more desktop publishing related, which is like taking newspaper articles and learning how to lay them out properly so that way it looks appealing to the eye. Well, take that, and then in high school, when I was in high school, I took desktop publishing in high school, which is the same concept. You're making something look appealing to the eye. And in that class, we learned how to use Photoshop, which you can obviously do what I do and edit and make adjustments and add things, subtract things, and the list goes on. It's endless what you can do with Photoshop. So putting those things combined, that gave me the knowledge to kind of do these. But I've been doing things like this, like, for example, when I was in my teens, my grandmother came up to me and said, "I got some really, really old photos. Is there anything that you can do to, fix them and get like tears out of them and take them if they're faded, bring some more light to them?" Well, my grandmother had a flatbed scanner at the time, and I was like, "Why don't you just scan the image? I'll edit it on Photoshop the best I can do, and we'll print it out." So I can't even tell you how many photos I did for my grandmother. That's how many she had that were just like so bad, in such bad shape. And I'm talking about photos probably from like the 30s, 40s, 50s. There really wasn't too many color ones. It was black and white mostly, and a few that had color. But they were really, really bad. And I took them and started messing around with Photoshop, learning what the tools were, slowly starting to edit them. And my grandmother was really impressed. She was like, "You need to you need to do this for a living, because like these came out so good." And so that's a little bit of my background too. Like, I did a lot for my grandmother as far as fixing photos, and that kind of translated into school, where I took desktop publishing, and I got extra help with learning how to use Photoshop, and went to college and I did desktop publishing there. And really, as a desktop publisher, it's just placement and an eye for what people want. So with that being said, that's kind of what I do on the dust sleeves. Granted, the box art is just pretty much simplistic. It's just me cleaning it up, and that's pretty much it, because the box art isn't going to change much unless specifically somebody says, hey, could you put this there instead of that? I can do that. But for the most part, that doesn't change. As far as the logo sleeves, that's all custom. That's all me. Anything that's on them, maybe if I design the logo, then of course that's me as well. But a lot of the logos that I deal with are already designed. All I'm doing is adding them to the sleeve, adding a unique way to put it to the spine, so that way, because some of these logos you can't put on the spine. You have to really bear down and think of a way that matches the logo to put it on the spine. And then reverse side is usually, information about where you can get a hold of the person. And that's pretty much it when it comes to logo sleeves. But yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Cool. I mean, obviously, I think to be such an expert at making authentic dust sleeves, you have to be somewhat of a hardcore gamer or collector yourself. So, why don't you tell everybody out there, what your background in gaming is? Do you consider yourself a collector? How hardcore are you? And what was your first system? How did you get into video games?
Okay, my first system was the Atari 2600. My dad actually picked it up at a yard sale, fairly cheap. And from there, I pretty much grew to love video games. And that was actually a Pac-Man game that I started with. And that was the only game I had for the Atari for the longest time. And then I got a few here and there, but then Christmas one year, my dad surprised me with the NES, and boy, did I fall in love. If it wasn't for that console, I don't think I would have been swayed to go to gaming too much, because the Atari really wasn't doing it for me. The NES, like, my eyes got real big when I saw Mario on the screen the first time. I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm going to be more interested in gaming now. And then just the quality time I had with my dad playing, like, the regular Super Mario Brothers 1. Duck Hunt was a big thing in my house. We played it a lot. And as far as collecting, yes, I do collect. I have a pretty decent sized collection. If I'm not at 1,000, I'm very close to 1,000 right now. I still have a few games that I have to log into my inventory on my app, but like, I'm pretty close to 1,000. So I wouldn't consider myself a hardcore collector, but when I have the extra cash flow, I do tend to buy video games. That's just like, that's my hobby, that's my thing. So yeah. As far as like games that I like playing, I like playing platformers most. But I like a hack and a slash, shoot 'em up kind of game too. They're always fun. Kind of like Bad Dudes. I like Bad Dudes. That's an awesome game. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that.
Cool. Yeah, I guess my last question, and then I'll turn it to the others. I don't want to dominate the entire time here. What system, since you've obviously looked at a ton of video game art out there for all systems over the entire span of video game history, which system do you think has the best artwork?
That's a very good question, and it's a hard one to answer. I can say this though. Japanese artwork is a lot better than American artwork. There's a plethora of reasons why that is, but for the most part, in my eyes, as of right now, Japanese beats US for most games. I cannot narrow it down to one console, because like, there's so much box art, and for me to try to remember what box art is what console is like really crazy. But if you just go by quantity, like, and how much a system has for a library for that system, like, overall, Nintendo has a pretty good selection to choose from. So if I had to go based on that, I think I would choose Nintendo.
Cool. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of iconic classic artwork on the NES, but there's also some bad ones too. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Japanese box art
yeah,
I think it's killer compared to like most US stuff that was released.
yeah. Yeah, that's all I had for now. So thank you, Chris, and
You're welcome.
let's turn it over to somebody else.
At this Bones.
All right. What are you trying to say, guys? You don't like the artwork on the game Ghost Lion on the NES, or what?
Oh, that's fabulous. What are you talking about?
Come on, man. That's pure. That is pure.
I just seen that
way.
box art, matter of fact. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, Chris, did you ever think that when you first started doing these sleeves for just cartridges, that the day would ever come that you would be doing such things as sleeving boxes, DVD style cases, CD cases, a Game Shark? Did you ever think that you'd be doing something like that?
Honestly, no. I never thought it would go any farther than maybe even cart-based games, like not even CD-based games, like because I can sleeve CD-based games now. But like, I thought I was strictly going to be cartridge-based, including handhelds, any kind of cartridge handheld. Like, I didn't think I would be sleeving things like you said, like the boxes. Like, I never thought I would sleeve the whole box. But they come out good. Like, it's not like it's not like they're bad or anything. They come out just like a normal sleeve would for a cart. Um, I never thought I would get into 3D sleeves, like the pop-out 3D sleeves that I'm doing now. That is a tedious task, but like in the end, they look so good. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I just get from the feedback from those that have already purchased these and seen them and were able to give me some feedback. Like, it's definitely something that I'm going to continue to do. Anything that I feel that isn't good enough to put out there, I will not put out there. So that's another little tidbit about me. I am really OCD when it comes to these sleeves. Like, they have to be perfect before they leave this house. If they're not perfect, I'm not satisfied. The customer won't be satisfied.
Yeah. Have you ever thought, Chris, of sleeving, say, not necessarily a small manual, but like a big box manual or one of the jewel case manuals from Sega CD or long box PS1? Has that ever been asked of you to be done?
To sleeve the actual manual.
The manual, yes.
I'm pretty sure it came up in our conversations at one point.
Oh, I know it has in our conversation.
Right.
But I wondered if anybody else has ever asked that.
No, nobody's ever asked me to sleeve a manual. I don't even think Dan even asked me to sleeve a manual.
Not yet.
Yeah, all right. So now you gave him an idea. So there's another there's another one coming.
Well,
I know for sure that you asked, and I don't back down from any challenges. So like, if you want your manual sleeved, I'm going to sleeve it.
All right. Well, then I definitely will probably come up with something for you there on that. Another thing I always wanted to ask you, and I forgot to the last couple of times, is have you ever sleeved something small like a DS game, or made a sleeve for just the UMV for a PSP? Has anybody ever asked you to create a sleeve for anything like that?
All right. Yes. Dan actually asked me to do a DS game before, and I actually did make the DS sleeve, and there's a unique way of doing that, and that is putting your DS game inside of a Game Boy clamshell, and then I put the sleeve around the clamshell.
Oh, very smart.
And with the PSP, same thing. The UMD is right. Same thing. That fits inside of a Game Boy clamshell, and then I put the sleeve around the clamshell.
Oh, that's really cool. All right, I got one more for you.
Go ahead.
To me, one of the most important things that you do is it's artwork in my eyes. So to me, everything is individually a piece of art. So when they're individually sitting by themselves, to me, I really enjoy looking at them. I love displaying them. When they are all together in a set, I think it just pops. It looks beautiful. Do you consider your sleeves artwork, or is it just something that you make?
Okay, so this goes a little bit both sides. Um, some of it I consider artwork, but a lot of it I don't. If you're just talking about like normal box art, I don't really consider that my artwork. That's artwork of others that I'm just putting on a sleeve. Um, when you're talking about something like the 3D pop-out sleeve, oh yeah, it's artwork of others, but I added a visually appealing piece to that never was on there. So that I feel is my art. Not so much the box art, but when you go and you see custom sleeves made by me that had nothing to do with anything, it was just an idea that I consider art. So like I've done not only logo sleeves, but I've done like a few custom sleeves that had just them pretty much incorporated on the sleeve, and that I consider art. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Okay, very nice.
Any other
Guess we'll
questions?
hand it back to Linda.
Yes, Linda.
Okay, so my first question, Chris, was how did you feel the first time you started seeing people making YouTube videos about your sleeves?
Great question. I was actually blown away that anybody would even consider doing something on YouTube. And I can tell you the very first video, because it means a lot to me when everybody does the videos. As you know, I don't make money off of these. These are done at cost. Like, so my enjoyment getting out of this is your enjoyment. Like when you get the sleeves and you're excited and you want to show them off enough that you're doing a YouTube video, that means the world to me. And the very first person that ever did this was Paul Tessie. Paul Tessie actually ordered about 12, I think it was, Super NES sleeves, and there were his hit games. Any ones that he broke records on, he pretty much sleeved them. So starting with Paul, it started gradually getting a little bit more attention, and then I started talking to JLove81, and she pulled me into the world of Twitter and YouTube. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have met you guys. Besides Dan, I already knew, but I wouldn't have met a lot of people. I wouldn't have talked to you. I would have never started on Voxer, which is the way we communicate. Um, a lot of that stuff wouldn't have happened, and a lot of it was because of her. So she did. I can't even tell you how many unboxing videos, and same with you, Linda. You helped me out a lot. You did the video on my YouTube channel, which is the kind of infomercial of the sleeves. It's
It was a
funny.
bad 90s infomercial.
It's funny. You have to check it out. So if you didn't already, please go into my YouTube account and check out that. Other than that, like I'm like speechless still when it comes to people think that they're that good that they're willing to do a video. And by no means do I ever say to anybody that you have to post it on social media, you have to put it on YouTube, you have to put it on anything. I am happy just to make the sleeves for you. And that's that.
So my second question is, you just recently got a review on like a blog. How did you feel about that one?
Actually, I was blown away by that too. Literally speechless when I read it. I was not anticipating the person that actually I do not know this person. He contacted me because I think he said he saw that in Do You Nerds video. They did an unboxing and he saw them and he was like, I think I want to review your product, I guess, in his mind. And then he contacted me on Twitter and was like, hi, I'm from Hack Informer and I would like to review your product. Is there any way that you can send me some samples of what you do? And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And for a few months went by, and I finally finished what he wanted because there was one template I didn't have that took me a while to get situated and done. But he, not even after I sent him, maybe a month later, he had the review up, and I was blown away by what he said. Like, it was all positive. There was only one con, and that was because I didn't do something properly on my end, because I didn't have the game to actually fit the sleeve correctly. But other than that, the review was really great. And if you are interested in that review, I will put it in the comments below, and you guys can read it yourself. It's really in depth, really detailed. He went above and beyond on how detailed he was about the sleeves. I couldn't put it in better words. He did it, and like, I'm actually gonna refer people to that if they were ever hesitant on buying from me.
So my next question is, would you try challenging yourself to sleeve something much larger, like a console box?
I'm actually doing something a little larger than I normally do, but it's not that massive of a console box. I don't know if I'm capable of doing that because my paper just is not big enough for something like that. I would have to get a bigger printer, and I mean, if it comes up later down the road, I may do it. I don't usually back down from much. Yeah, I mean, you can ask these guys in here.
Is this what we talked about?
Did we talk about this too?
Well, I mentioned I wanted a system.
Oh yeah, you said it was. The, all right. Sorry, I'll be corrected. That was the GameCube box, right?
Yes, it was.
All right, yeah. So, I mean, that might be something that happens later down the road. If I can get the paper to work correctly, I'll probably attempt it.
Okay, so we might see something down the line in an Instagram post randomly.
Yeah. You like my random post? Oh, stay tuned. Something new is coming out.
Oh yeah, I like seeing random posts of like, hey, I just finished all these for this order. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, that's Dan. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, we like to keep you busy.
Yeah, you're not lying. There is a recent order that just got finished, actually, that will be being posted on Instagram shortly.
Nice. So, my question. Think you'll expand and maybe grow and start adding some people to help you out?
There was a person actually that used to help me. She is in the UK, and she actually, I used to do everything. All she had to do was print and assemble full, all that stuff. I would send her the file. She would print it. She would take care of everything and ship it to the people that are everywhere but the US, because it was just cheaper for some reason for her to ship from the UK to Canada, the UK to Mexico, the UK to everywheres but the US, because I handled the US. For those that, wanted something from me specifically, I usually do not go outside of the US. That's why I had her, but then she decided that she doesn't have really the time to do it anymore. So I currently do not have anybody. It's hard for me to say yes to something like that because I really have to trust that person to not do anything other than what's asked of them, pretty much. So a lot of trust is played into that, and I haven't found anybody else to do it with. Again, I'm not making money, and people want to see dollar signs, but basically if they're doing work, you know what I mean? So not only the trust, but they got to understand that they're not going to be really making any kind of money on this.
Okay. So hopefully somebody in the future wants to volunteer.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a volunteer service. Who wants to volunteer their time?
Yeah, man. But hey, you never know. You might get a family business going.
Yeah, my son actually, he helps every now and then. It's not that often, but sometimes he'll, like, if I'm a little bit backed up, he'll fold some of the sleeves. So he has folding down. So on to the next step, which I'm really might get him to do is cutting. So one baby step at a time for him.
Okay. So that pretty much is it for the segments since we have no more questions, ladies and gentlemen. Let's throw it back to the maestro.
Alrighty then. So the last segment for this podcast is Game of the Month. Bones, what's your Game of the Month?
I'm going to have to go with Twisted Metal 2.
That's always a classic. I like Twisted Metal.
Yeah, I've had a hankering to play that, so I think that's going to be on my list of games to play probably tomorrow, to be honest. So that's going to be my game.
Yeah, nothing like blowing up other cars.
Yeah, that was the best one they made, in my opinion.
And Dan, what's your Game of the Month?
Since this podcast theme is dust leaves and artwork, I have a game in my hand right now that has pretty cool artwork, and that's Ninja Savior's Return of the Warriors. This is a follow-up to a classic side-scroller beat-em-up that was in arcade and NES, the Ninja Warriors, and SNES, and yeah, they released a sequel to it recently. It's a really fun, classic, retro feeling beat 'em up, and yeah, I definitely recommend it. They released it on all systems, and it's a fun blast from the past.
Nice. And Linda?
Life is Strange, and then Life is Strange Before the Storm. So I've been playing that a lot, jumping back and forth, playing different, because I didn't realize how many packs they had until I played the first one again, because I had it on Xbox One, and I decided to get it out for the PlayStation 4 since I've been trying to play a bunch of more stuff on one console. And I remembered they had Before the Storm, so I was like, let me just try that too. So I dig both of them. And then I realized that they had a pack, like some, you know, they always have like DLC packs, but this one, it was like episode packs. So I played I think it was Captain Spaulding, I believe. I forgot the name of the title, but I played that one too, and I digged all three. So now I'm going to jump into Life is Strange 2 later on when it jumps down in price, because right now it's like full price, and I'm waiting for, you know how like they throw all the episodes into one bundle and you can buy everything on disc.
Right.
So I'm waiting for that to drop in price for when the disc drops, then I'll pick it up. But yeah, man, definitely a good game.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look into that one. I don't currently own that. Go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get that game because it's one of those games where it's a butterfly effect, and it looks like really like a movie. So it's one of those, whatever you do, you have to make sure that if you mess with somebody, hope that they don't affect you at the end of the story.
Nice. All right. Well, my Game of the Month is Super Mario Brothers, and that's because
Nice.
yeah, I like classic. I like original. So not only that, since we were talking about the background of my collecting, and that just brought back a lot of memories, and that's definitely one of the higher up titles in my opinion. It started a lot of the other games, so that's mine. Okay, now we're going to close it out, and I'd like to say thank you to you guys again for doing this podcast. As always, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. You do great work. Keep it up. And how do people get in touch with you in case they want to order some sleeves?
Okay, they can get in touch with me Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube. So there's plenty of ways. Matter of fact, I'll put up like an image of my card that I just got made not too long ago on here. And
Awesome.
thank you guys again, and see you later, YouTube. As always,
Internet.
don't blow up,
See ya.
just sleeve.